Guys, welcome back to another episode of Always Making. Thanks for joining us here in, we keep having different names for it. I'm just going to call it our basement for now.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm Derek.
I'm Christy.
And we are joined by Logan, the second half of Copperhive Vintage, but also like we didn't want to take any thunder away from everything you're doing because you have a lot that we can go into. But we gave Jacqueline a great conversation, but I really wanted to make sure we gave you an awesome conversation about all the stuff you do for the community and your art and everything that way. We're going to jump into it. I'm going to have you introduce everything that you do and who you are and everything. But before we do that, we've got some housekeeping. This comes out Friday before the Friends Market. I almost forgot the name.
Copperhive Vintage Friendship Market.
Friendship Market at Copperhive Vintage. So if you guys want to see Logan's stuff or you want to go check out the vintage store that Jacqueline runs, that weekend we will be there as well. That is April 27th. That will be running. We start at 10 o'clock, 12 o'clock.
Sure.
Probably,
I bet it's noon.
I think the last one was noon, right?
Yeah. Jacqueline usually is on a schedule. I bet it's noon.
Okay.
Yeah.
So noon. Double check their Instagram, but
12 to 5, I think.
I think it's 12 to 5.
Yeah, 12 to 5, 12
Sounds
to 4,
right.
12 to whenever you.
But we will be there April 27th for that event there. Also, we are right now, as this is out, we are in Mill Creek Common for the Craft Lake City's Maker Mart. We will be there through May 27th on that one. So you guys can come and check out some stuff there. And then on the 26th, the day before the event will be at Copperhive. We'll actually be at Mountain Cider West for the
Mountain West Hard Cider.
Oh, geez, man. I'm really...
it's a lot. It's a lot. There's a Cryptids and Cider Market at Mountain West Hard Cider.
A Loring podcast. Kimmy and Ryan are putting that on there. We have some cryptid themed stuff. We've got some cool things coming out. And then some of the stuff we've been hinting at and like...
we keep teasing we've got new stuff.
We have here on the show today because they are now out. You can go pick them up at the Mill Creek show. You will have them for the shows this weekend. Again, when this comes out this weekend, the 26th, 27th, we will be out at events that you can come check out. But we started doing, let me grab these jumbo stickers for you guys listening. They are oversized stickers. We have cryptid, we have a banana, we have some of my death bouquet stuff. Super fun stuff. Then we have some new prints. We've got our t-shirt prints with our owls, and someone said you sound like an owl, and it's kind of fun. Who? Yeah. We brought back our wizard, science wizard t-shirt again, but this one glows in the dark. I forgot the remote over there. I was gonna turn the lights off for the video watchers there.
You just have to get one now.
See it glow in the dark
to see how it works.
And so that one glows in the dark. Christy has one of our fountain prints one with the rainbow and everything, but the glow in the dark, cool. I thought because science, right?
Exactly.
Wizards.
And then our Photogs Anonymous support group t-shirt for all you photographers out there. And so kind of drew out one of my favorite cameras there and tossed that in there with some cool stuff. And so we've got some cool new designs coming to you guys this year for some of these first early spring shows. We plan to be releasing some more cool designs that I've been working on as well. But those are the things we've been teasing on some of our last episodes. We're going to throw these off camera here. Get them out of there.
Busy.
That is our housekeeping. Okay, we got that out of the way. We got all the shows. We're going to see Logan on the 27th. We're also going to have this conversation now, Logan.
Great. Here I am.
Dive into it. You do not just woodwork. There's some custom bolos that I went down the rabbit hole of some of those cool things.
Yes.
I want the camera one. I know it's 2001 that you made that, but that one was sick.
I was
2021.
Like,
2020. Oh,
yeah,
2021.
Derek forgets we're in the 2020s and just drops the 20 all the time.
Yeah, and also I'm gonna go steal from your closet that Star Wars sewn jacket that you did. That quilted.
That was a pandemic adventure.
That was I going down there. That was sick. But okay, I'm jumping ahead of everything. Logan, who are you? Where did this all start?
Hi, I'm Logan. I'm a lot of things. I am Jacqueline's second half, least half, at Copperhive. And then I have way too many Instagram handles. I have my personal, which is I Am the Ugly. And then I also have been making art since about 2019 under Park Liberace. And then the bolos are actually, this is one of my bolos.
I noticed that when you walk down. I'm like, oh, that's a cool one. Okay.
It was an old camel keychain. You could shake the cigarettes and get them in the carton, and I figured it was a perfect bolo.
That's a fun bolo.
And that is my other Instagram, which is Lasso Daddy Wears. My initials are LDW, so I thought I'd play with that a little bit.
That was pretty fun. Yeah.
So all of that is mostly just inspired by my ADHD and my obsessive thoughts of coming up with something and then being hyper focused on it until I do it. So
and there's a vibe with all of it.
Yes.
Like there's like, okay, Jacqueline made fun of you because of your overalls, which you're wearing today.
I only wear overalls. I haven't worn pants consecutively. I've worn pants a few times, but in the last 4 years, I have only worn overalls pretty much 98% of the time.
But that is a vibe that like you can just see everything that's curated on all of your different pages. There is something about just you as an individual and the independence and your own kind of thing that is really cool.
Thank you.
And you can see it through everything you're doing.
I appreciate that.
So
yeah,
Chrissy,
it feels like, I was gonna say, it feels like a little bit retro, a little bit like Western, very like just
Definitely.
Yeah. I mean, you have to check out your Instagram to like really, or your art to really see it. But it's like you see it and you know, like, oh yeah, that's one of Logan's.
That's it.
100%.
Cool. That's great to hear. I love that.
Also, we weren't making fun of you for wearing overalls because I was also wearing overalls, and that was the joke.
Yes.
Was that we went to that market.
Yeah.
It was like right before Halloween, and I was also wearing overalls. I think there were at least 2 or 3 other people wearing overalls.
There
it
were.
was yeah.
It was great. I love to see it. I love to see people embracing their overalls.
They're practical. Like I don't know what's to knock about overalls. I think Derek needs to get some.
I'm not knocking anything. I just was making the comment.
No, Jacqueline loves to give me a hard time. She loves them though. Like I'll put my nice ones on, and she's like, "What's up?" She knows.
You look good.
Yeah. But they're great. You got like all your pockets. Your butt crack never hangs out, which I love. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Solid.
So you've got your pocket knife pocket. Like you can't lose things easily in overalls, and that's what I really like about them. So with the overalls and everything, where did this all start for you? Where was the inspiration? I know you guys both were doing vintage hunting for quite a while and then started in the vintage game, but where did the creative like bug start for you? Honestly, I've always enjoyed doing things with my hands. That's how my brain works. Honestly, creative probably when I was in middle school, high school. I actually rode bicycles a lot, and so we used to build bikes, take bikes apart, create Frankenstein bikes. Did you do like the BMX bikes or like the class? Like BMX was my first love, and then it became just honestly like pulling bikes out of the garbage and like just giving them a new life and just getting weird with spray paint and just zombifying things. So. Nice. Sweet. And then really art and creation, it didn't really hit me till I think 2018 is when I started kind of messing around with that. I collect 1950s and 60s gentleman magazines like Playboy and things. That's also one of your Instagrams as well. It is. Yes. Pervtown USA. It's classy. Yeah. But I was just home on a Friday night, just having a couple beers, and inspiration hit me that I should take some of these Playboys that I'd found that were just already missing pages and start glittering on them. And so that's really where, like, I guess that led me into the evolution of where I am now. I would take a picture of a topless lady and I would just like glitter her underwear or like a blanket or like whatever. And then in 2019, I started taking inspiration from that and comics and just my mind, I guess. And I started painting, which I'd never really painted before. We obviously go to a lot of estate sales, and I just, for some reason, started hoarding like a lot of the vintage like construction paper, like that tan, like kind of gritty craft paper. Yeah. And so I started painting on that, and then that evolved to wood cutouts because I thought it'd be cool to take some of the like 4-eyed girls that I do or four boobed girls and turn them into wood cutouts, and then you could like put them in your window looking outside or put them on your fireplace, and then it's just evolved from there. Yeah, you've got coat hangers that are stocking women's legs with fishnet stockings. Yes. You have,
I say I like the notepad holder.
Yeah, the taboo pad.
The boo pad.
Yeah, taboo pad. You know, like you got to do stuff, but taboobing is better.
And you have it's little cigarette. Was it earrings?
They are earrings. Yeah. So I take wood dowels, I cut them in kind of like random different smoked links, carved out the ash tips, and then I hand paint all of them and put them on earrings. So
you are very fortunate that you have a partner in crime with all of this stuff that helps
Yes.
support. So that's made it a lot easier to kind of do some of these shows. But when we first met you, you actually were doing your show solo with just your art pieces and everything like
yeah.
that. What was the drive to kind of just branch away a little bit from the partner vintage stuff and
Yeah.
kind of give yourself your own little like space?
I think a lot of that was just, and I think it's important too to like just create for yourself.
Mhm.
And I had just been mostly doing that, just creating like what I want. It wasn't necessarily like a thought of like, how can I monetize this? And I just amassed enough stuff, and people seemed intrigued enough by the weird things that I was doing and just pulling out of my brain. And so I just was like, let's, like, I can't hoard all this. I don't have that much wall room. So
You are a very common story we get with a lot of makers.
yeah,
Just
I was
made
just
so
making
much
my own
stuff.
yeah,
stuff.
I
and
was
I'm
just
like,
making things.
what do I do with all this
Yeah.
stuff? Like, I was like, I printed a lot of these. Like, like,
Yeah, what do I
hey,
do?
Someone want to buy these? Like,
Yeah, let's see what happens. And so yeah, that's really how that started with the art. And then the bolos, I was really, a lot of estate sales that we go to, there's just like a toy box or a junk drawer full of random discarded things. And I love those things. And so I actually have just amassed like a collection of like mason jar
like
full of
trinkets.
things.
Yeah.
And then during the pandemic, same thing, just at home more often than not, obviously. And I made myself a couple, and I just kept making more and more, and people seemed intrigued. And it's fun to give those forgotten things like a new life.
Yeah.
Like I wouldn't wear this as a keychain just because it's big and bulky, but I'll put it around my neck.
Yeah.
So
It's a nice little centerpiece kind
Yeah.
of thing there.
so
Are you like weaving and like making the bolo itself? Or are you getting like a blank bolo and then kind of building off of that?
yeah. So a lot of it is, I don't weave anything.
Okay.
I originally started with actually like a utility cord from like Lowe's or like Home
Okay.
Depot. Just like tie cord for camping and stuff. And then I was able to start actually sourcing a lot of stuff at like estate sales and like yard sales. And now I have a couple friends in the vintage world that just keep an eye out for those parts. So a lot of my pieces are also secondhand or
Upcycled kind of
found
stuff,
items. Yeah, I really am about that. Even with my wood stuff, like most of the wood I use is dumpster dived. I'll just like, if I go to an estate sale and some guy had like an old wood shop, I'll just buy his 1/2 inch, 1/4 inch wood and,
pile. Yeah.
yeah. Or like I don't know if you saw the big skulls I did with the big crossbones.
Yep.
Those were actually off of an old like dresser that had
Wow.
sat in someone's garage or something that was like just chippy and beautiful. And
Yeah.
so I was just like, well, it can't be a dresser anymore due to its condition, but it can live a new life.
This is I think I love this about like the stuff that you're doing, is because I have a very similar mindset from video production, where it's like, hey, we see something different and like we like, oh, that can be this. And
Yeah.
I love the history of like the Star Wars, where the kit bashing, you took model cars and put them onto something else and made a whole sci-fi
Thing.
looking thing. And
Yeah.
but like giving these pieces life from the trash is huge, because in this world that we like are consuming and throwing stuff at,
Yes.
like, we love finding sources like that. And
Totally.
we talked with Jacqueline about like just kind of having your niche and being able to find the stuff at estate sales. I guess you don't really have much competition of people looking for like bolo supplies
No.
and like wood, like raw wood.
Yeah, especially raw wood. I feel like jewelry's become a thing more recently, but yeah, like all those things, especially like the trinkets and like old toys. Like last year I bought a bunch of like Garfields at an estate sale.
Mhm.
Like no one seemed intrigued by those, and
Yeah.
they made great little bolos.
Yeah.
It's just fun to kind of find those things and figure out like, how can I turn this into something else. And it's also honestly like part of it is like a monetary thing too. Like it's nice to be able to upcycle things and not have to like go out and buy all new product. And
Well, it's also a unique talking point too, because there's probably no one else in the world that has a camel keychain that's turned into a
fair.
bolo kind of
Yeah,
thing.
fair.
And so that's always the fun. I follow a person, I forget the user on social, but they make the same little trinkets, toys, and random stuff. They make keychains, and then they leave them in a like a neighborhood library box kind of thing, an
Okay.
art trinket box, and they
Oh yeah, I think I've seen that on Instagram.
yeah, and they
Yeah.
just grab and
It's
people
like
just
take a keychain, leave a
key.
keychain.
Yeah, and there's so many cool little. I'm like, that's super cool. I see so many things, and I go, I don't have enough time to do another one of these things. I'm like that. Like maybe some of the
Don't
stuff.
add one more thing
Yeah.
to the
No,
list.
fair. I mean, I haven't. Full disclosure, I haven't made a Bolo in like 2 years.
I was gonna say the Bolo page is a little
Yeah,
dead, but
it's
it hasn't been alive for 2 years.
Yeah.
But there's still cool pieces, and you still have quite a variety of things to go check out and see, kind of thing. And
yes.
who knows? You might be back on a Bolo
Hey,
kick at some point, right?
100%. I've got enough inventory.
I was gonna say you
So,
probably have enough trinkets
yeah.
sitting there that can make into some cool stuff.
Yeah, we like to call ourselves fancy hoarders because we just hoard like cool things, you know. So I've got a hoard of those things to do stuff with. And if anyone wanted one, like I've had a couple people reach out, and I've made a couple one-offs. You know, if you're looking for a camera, I'll find you one.
Okay.
I'll make you one.
All
I
right.
got you.
Okay. I will wait, and then let me know and then everything
will.
when you find that camera. I'm like, 'cause man, I saw that one on your page. I'm like, oh man, I don't know if I can pull off a Bolo, but it is really cool piece to
You
have.
could.
Kind of
I
thing.
feel like
Totally
you
good.
would maybe look a little bit like Pedro from
From Napoleon Dynamite.
That's a vibe. It's a vibe.
It
It's
is
fine.
100% a vibe.
Yeah. Yeah, that was a popular one. I remember a lot of people wanted that when I sold that, and I wish I could find a bunch more to make everyone happy. But that's the fun thing too about that stuff is it's like even if I find another camera, that Bolo will be a completely different thing on its
100%.
own. You
Yeah.
know? And that's what I love about just even a wood cutout. Like I make plenty of similar things, like the skulls with the nudes in their eyes and the wood roses, but I hand cut every one of those pieces with like a $50 jigsaw.
I was just gonna say you have this
So-
fancy like wood shop and all
No,
these
not at all.
high-end tools and everything. The Japanese reverse saw tooth, is it right? I'm
Yeah,
correct?
totally. Yeah. I have a carport, a hand jigsaw, and a hand sander. Yeah, so
And
we're getting there.
again, guys, I want to, like, when we do these kind of shows and these kind of stuff, like, this is exactly why we love talking with other artists, because there's not a reason to have the perfect wood shop. There's not
No.
the thing that is out there to go, hey, I need all this before I start. Like, you have a jigsaw, a
Yes.
carport, and some scrap wood,
Yes.
and you're making some cool fucking pieces.
Thank
And that's
you.
the fun part about it. And
Yeah.
like that, you're not letting that hold you back when, like, man, I really need this like expensive router bit that goes
Yep.
to this, and like, yeah, we got secondhand stuff that
Yeah.
like just works.
Yeah. And I think that's part of that evolution of like starting somewhere, you know, like I wish I had, you know, $100,000 wood shop.
It'd be great. It'd be super
and
fun.
maybe one day.
Yeah.
But it's starting with a vision and just going from there and figuring out how to make things work. And that's what I've done. And honestly, I love it because I always tell everyone it's like my art feels like it came out of like somebody's like grandfather's wood shop. You know what I mean? Like it's just like it feels like that vibe, and I love that because it does reconnect me to my grandfather's, but it just feels, I guess, more vulnerable in that way that I'm not like, yeah, I have a CNC and I just cut everything out.
Yeah.
And it's identical. You know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did you do any kind of woodworking when you were younger?
I think in 7th grade I took woodwork. I remember my mom still has it, and I did like a mom sign. It just says mom, not a wood. That's it.
The first original like
Yeah.
wood cutout
Wood
for
cut
you and
out.
everything.
Yep, that was it. And then I was a plumber, and I used to do some construction in high school and out of high school. So like there's a
That
little bit
skill
of
set.
that, but nothing like what I'm doing now. I just got it in my head one day to do it, and here we are.
Yeah, because on a construction site, how often are you cutting out like 3 or 4 boobed women for?
Yeah,
like, some
never.
of the pieces?
Sadly, never. You know, like
If only.
So, because I did wood shop, Chrissy, you
Mhm.
did wood
I
shop.
did wood shop in middle school. Yep.
Yeah,
Cool.
I think I made a game board like of some sort, like a little like pegboard,
cool. Okay.
like game.
Yeah.
I made a heart, and it was supposed to be on a stand, and I nailed it in, and it was crooked, and I gave it to my dad. I was like,
Love you, Dad.
exactly, love you. I made other things too, but that's the one I remember because he kept it, of course, and it
Yeah.
was in the garage, like up on his little like shelf, and my like crooked, terrible heart.
Heck yeah.
I can't say, like, I started with a jigsaw probably around like 7 or 8, making tech skate ramps
Right.
and cutting out the wood. And my dad, like, here's how you use a jigsaw. And
yeah.
I think it was like Black and Decker, and I think it was like a weird like forest green color. Like you knew it was like a cheap jigsaw, but it just I cut my ramps and I made my ramps for it and everything.
It's all you needed.
Yeah, and so that's I mean I guess we always ask this question, or we try to ask this question: is there a tool that you couldn't do your like work with? But it sounds like you only have the one
Yes.
tool.
yeah. I have my jigsaw, and then I do use a drill because like I've got to be able to when I cut out like eyes and the skulls or their noses, you know. But yeah, nothing fancy, nothing fancy yet.
What about in your estate sale hunting? Is there like your holy grail like vintage item that you've either found or that you're still looking for that you haven't found yet?
Oh, honestly, it's for me. It's like when I see it, I know.
Mhm.
You know, like I don't really have anything that I'm like. I guess I'm out there hunting for.
Mhm.
I'm always stoked to find some vintage Motu at estate sales.
Well, okay.
Some He-Man.
What's a Motu?
Motu, Masters of the Universe.
Yeah.
I'm always excited to find that. And then honestly, anything with like boobs on it is always fun. But I think maybe Jacqueline mentions. I listened to her episode, so I'm sorry if Jacqueline already mentioned this. But we do have a real taxidermy two-headed cow on our wall.
There's also
And
a picture
that's-
on your Instagram as
Yes,
well.
there
I was like thinking, because she did talk a little bit about it, not go too far into it, but I thought it was like a freestanding thing, but it's like mounted on it. Yeah.
I feel like the cow was born, the farmer pulled it out, and like it didn't make it, and they were like, we got to preserve this thing. And then just like it's stuffed with hay, and then it's literally just tacked to like a piece of plywood, like a 3/4 inch piece of plywood.
Yeah.
Like it's incredible.
Yeah. It's I was like, couldn't picture it the way it is.
Yeah.
So go to his Instagram and check that out, because it's not what Jacqueline like shared. And I'm like, oh, that's no.
It's not a beautiful, pristine piece of taxidermy you would see in a museum for sure.
Does it have a name?
We have not named it yet. We need to. My mother-in-law is actually here currently for my kid's birthday this weekend, and she hates it. I think it's been hanging up at my house. I finally actually hung it
the
up.
same thing.
Yeah, and she hates it. But I think it's a beautiful piece of art.
There is some really cool thing about oddities that like you don't see it every day kind of thing, and so like if you have that piece and that collection like that just sits there, kind of like I can understand that like awesomeness. There are taxidermies. I follow another Squirrel Warrior, I think is the guy.
Okay.
But he taxidermies squirrels into these amazing like poses with like little tiny like bow and arrows, like full like warrior outfits. He did like, I think the first one I saw, he was actually like in a ski suit and like doing like like some kind of like snowboard trick, like, and he's got the full scene. I'm like, these things are amazing.
That's incredible, because I'm assuming he's probably taxiderming the things himself, and then he's creating their costumes and all their props.
Yeah, it's super
incredible.
cool, bees. And I'm like, but those kind of like weird oddities are like, I don't know, I think I mentioned this on one of the shows. I don't remember, but my grandpa had a squirrel taxidermy that was like up in like one of his shelves, and I'm like, when he passed away, I'm like, oh, that would have been kind of fun to like ask to like get that kind of thing. I don't know whatever happened to it, but I'm like, I was like,
I don't remember that.
Yeah. I'm trying to think if you ever would have seen that in his office space. I don't know. Maybe not. You may, but yeah.
When my grandfather passed, he passed in 2020, if I recall correctly. It was actually on my birthday I got the call. But it was time. But when he passed, we were able to go through his estate, and I remember as a child in their like living room den, they had a glass coffee table that was a desert scene of like 5 quails.
Oh wow.
And like there's one that's like jumping off like a fallen tree branch, and I was able to get that. And so that sits in our living room, and it's one of my prized possessions.
Yeah.
It's just good memories, like playing around that and like just being in his house.
Yeah.
You know? So
that's cool.
Very cool.
Yeah. The bird taxidermies are pretty cool. There's a couple in some downtown antique shops that I couldn't pull the trigger on it. Like it just, I'm like, what am I going to do with this?
Yeah.
And like Christy wasn't there to like say, yeah, okay. Because if she would have
Get
said
it.
okay, I probably would have done it. But I'm like, if I bring this home and she's mad at me for doing this, it's probably
Yeah.
not a good
I
thing
think it
to.
would depend on the piece.
Yeah.
Hey, look, if you ever buy a piece of taxidermy that either of you disapprove of and you can't agree on, let me know.
Let you know.
All right.
Okay, deal.
All right. We have quite a few pieces of taxidermy, but the cow is definitely, the two-headed cow is definitely the best, for sure.
When you're going through your process for your creative outlets with that, the glitter is one thing that started you off with
Yes.
everything. But
Yes.
what do you do now? How do you go about like, hey, I'm going to create a new piece. I want to do something slightly different than what I've already done.
Yeah.
Where does that? Do you go through some of your stuff that you have, find some inspiration, or is it just like, hey, let's see what just happens and just
Yeah.
start cutting?
Honestly, a lot of it is just silly things that pop in my mind, probably due to like looking at my collection. I've done a few pieces based off like just like lyrics. Like I've just heard a song and I'm like, an image pops in my head and
Yep.
I'm like, hey, I want to bring that to life.
Yeah.
A lot of it's like record covers. A lot of it actually does have to do with like music. But yeah, it can just be anything. Like I don't know if you saw the skulls I created, the barbed wire hats.
Yep.
I was just driving down the road, like coming home from work one day, and that just like popped in my head.
No music was playing. Just
Nothing.
kind of just.
It just was like, I don't know why, but it just came to me, and then I was like, I have to do this.
Is so for a lot of the artists we talk to, and even myself as well, I've got like a notebook or notes app on my thing where I just write these things down.
Yes.
And I got to get to it, and then I like forget about it, and then like maybe 6 months later I got to get to it, and then I kind of do you
100%.
have that like same
Yes.
thing, or so it's not like I got to do this and I got to go do this now kind of
Yeah.
thing. It's okay.
A lot of the things, it's I guess it depends on when inspiration hits and I guess time for me.
Yeah.
But like, yeah, I have like a notes app in my phone that has like probably 50 ideas.
Yeah.
And I'll add to it, but then I'll think of something and then I just like immediately want to like bring that to life. And there's a lot of things that I still want to bring to life on that list. It just, I guess, yeah, getting around to it. Maybe I need to like go through and look at my list,
Yeah.
you know? So, and some of it is like trial and error, right? Like some of the stuff I have on my list, I'm like, oh man, I want to do that. And then I'll sit down and then it just doesn't, that like first draft doesn't turn out right. Or like the way not necessarily the way I'm envisioning in my head. Cause I feel like we have to get rid of that like stipulation on ourselves of like, oh, this isn't exactly how I thought. So I hate it, which I do that a lot.
Yeah.
But like we have to stop that as like creators. Like,
We're our own worst
you
critics,
know?
right?
I was just gonna say.
like, we have to. But yeah, like it does come down to that sometimes for me where like I'm trying to rough draft it out or sketch it out and I'm just like, this isn't the vibe that I was like going for.
Yep.
And so it just goes back on the back burner. But yeah, I mean, if I didn't have a full-time job and all the other things in the world, I would love to just create all the time.
Yeah.
Just get wild.
It is a weird thing that happens. Like I will do the same exact thing. I will like hear like a lyric or I will like be inspired by something. And I'm like, oh, I've got to do this thing. And like, if I have the time, I will maybe try to like draft out, like sketch it in on the iPad or something like that.
Yeah.
And then like, or try to find a resource of like, okay, here's where I'm trying to go with, and then work with that. And then I get to a point where I go, oh man, that's not quite working the way I want it. And then it just kind of sits in the draft.
It just hangs out.
And then like sometimes you get back to it sometimes, and then the things that that have success, I don't even know why I just went all the way through
Yeah.
with it kind of thing. Do you have some of your pieces that are like similar where it's just kind of like, it's like it wasn't a thought, it was just like, oh, it happened and you kind of just went right through and like, wow.
Yeah,
It was
100%.
kinda fun.
Yeah, I think with my taboo pads, which are probably like most people's favorite thing that I make, at least it gets the most giggles. That was just straight up how you explained it. I just was like, I had this idea. I literally like drew it out. I think I drew that one out on a piece of cardboard and then like used that as a blueprint on some 1/4 inch ply. And then just was like, okay, so we've got the shape. We've got to drill holes for I call them nipple bolts. We got to drill hole for the nipple bolts. Like, how are we going to do that? Where are those going to be placed? Like, and then I made one and then I was obsessed. Same thing with the wood roses. I sketched that out on a piece of cardboard too. And then the same day I sketched that out, I just
got into cutting.
got the jigsaw out, cut it out, figured out how to bolt the 3 layers together. And I hyper fixate on those. I love making those. They're like the funnest, just 'cause they have so many different like turns, shapes, and angles. They're just so fun to cut out.
Are you using like any kind of special blade or anything like that to like get tighter curves or anything?
Yeah, I use like a fine jigsaw blade.
Okay.
It allows you to like definitely get some turns in there without eating up the wood too, or like chipping sharp edges.
Yeah. So
So-
multi, like small tooth count or
Yep.
large, high tooth count.
Yes,
That's the
high
word I'm
tooth
looking
count.
for.
Yes.
It's like multi tooth count. Wait, I'm saying it all wrong.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of like the official name that's on the blade, but it is made to cut like curves
Okay.
and
And,
like,
angles. Like it
small
allows
details.
it to bend with your cut instead of just cut through the wood and not look good.
Do you struggle with straight lines with jigsaws? Like I struggle with straight lines on jigsaws. Like I have like a little ruler jig thing that goes
Yeah.
like clamps in so I can keep straight. Cause man, I cannot cut straight.
Yeah.
Yeah, don't look at the edge of our table over there.
Don't
'cause
look
it's
at
not
it.
straight.
Don't look at it. I did, but I feel like now I've got a better understanding of my jigsaw. I think too, like honestly, I don't have a lot of like straight lines on my cuts.
Yeah.
You know, like a lot of my stuff is like a weird. I mean, I do a lot of skulls, so a lot of things
Not
are
too
round.
much straight on there. Yeah.
You know, and then if it's not perfectly straight, it's just it's the vibe.
Yeah. Well, I was gonna
It's
say
meant to
like
be that way.
if it's too straight, you're kind of looking at it you're like that looks off, right?
Yeah, this doesn't look right.
It's got to have that handmade look and
Yeah,
feel.
this looks too nice.
You're painting everything yourself. You're going through
Yeah.
that. Like, are you using any kind of like specialty paint to finish your stuff? Or
The cheapest paint I can buy at the craft store. I just buy like the cheap acrylic paints.
Yeah.
Like, and I do a lot of like color mixing with them too. So it's kind of nice because I don't know anything about mixing colors. So I'll have an idea in my head of like what I want the color to look like. So then when it ends up not looking right, I'm not sad I wasted a bunch of paint.
Yeah.
I also think that probably shoots me in the foot a little bit too. I feel like if I used like a better paint, I wouldn't be doing like multiple coats, or like I would be able to like pull a line better or longer than what I do with acrylic. But it's a process. We're getting there.
it's also a look too.
Yeah.
Like I mean, goes back to that. It's a vibe. Kind of.
Totally. There's a lot of love and frustration in each piece.
How many wood pieces do you think you've made since you started this whole adventure?
That's a great question.
Then how many bolos do you think you've made since you started that adventure?
Yeah. Wood cutouts, honestly, I'm just trying to think like what I did last year. I think I made almost 100 pieces last year.
Oh man.
Awesome.
So I would bet I'm at least over 200 pieces altogether.
Total
Last year was probably my most productive year
Yeah.
as a wood artist.
That's
just cutting
awesome
stuff
to
out.
hear.
Yeah.
That's how many you're making, because
Yeah.
what that means is you're clearing house quite often to need
Yes.
more to get in.
Yeah, truly.
You don't want those shelves to look
Yeah.
bare when you're doing the shows.
Yeah.
How many shows are you doing a year?
Last year, I think I did probably 5 or 6 last year. Luckily, because Jacqueline's such a sweetheart, she lets me come and do her market. I'm also
You kinda have
the
an
guy.
in.
I'm also the guy that helps everyone set their tent up and get them lined out for the market.
It's true. You're helping host.
Yeah,
as
it's
well.
fair. It's fair. And then there's a couple shows like my December. I always do Win-Win Market. I don't know if you guys have heard of that one.
No.
It's a great market, and it's been going on I think since 2019. And that one is honestly one of my best shows.
Really? Where's that located?
That one was at the Clubhouse, which is like kind of downtown.
Okay.
But I think she's moving venues. She also does Salt Lake Vintage Market, I think is what it's called.
Okay. That sounds more familiar.
Yeah, and I think they're moving to Granary
Okay.
Row area because we have a show on May 3rd that's a vintage one. I'll be bringing some of my pieces, and it's at a new venue somewhere in Granary.
Okay.
So, but that one's a great show. And then I'm trying to think what other shows I did. I actually did my first out of state show last year. It was called
Get out of my head, man. I was just
So-
going to ask
Were
you
you?
that question about out of state shows because I'm
Yeah.
like, yeah, you did an out of state show.
Yeah, it was a party at the Penn in Idaho at the Boise Penitentiary. It's like this really old, just prison.
I've been there.
It's beautiful.
Yeah.
It's so beautiful
It's very
there.
cool.
And it was like just a vintage motorbike chopper show.
Oh, I was just talking to another screen printer about that
Yeah.
same show.
Yeah.
Kind of thing. Like he was talking about they do tattoos and like in the
Yep. In the cells.
In the cells.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. And
It's
I'm
cool.
like, Christy, I think this is a show we want to go check out. I mean,
Yeah.
maybe not then, but I mean, just go check out the vibes again.
Yeah, it's cool. Well, and I went 2 years ago just as an attendee. My brother had been the year before, which was their first year, and it was such a vibe. I really like Boise too. But it was just such a cool vibe to see all these like handcrafted choppers, all these custom paint jobs. They had a car show out front, and there's a lot of cool vintage components within all of that too, you know, so it was right up my alley. And then I was just like, man, maybe next year I'll vend, and it came around and I did it, and it was a good show. It was cool. And it felt good to like, I guess, step out of the state and like
the Salt Lake comfort zone.
Yeah, exactly. Like we
Yeah.
have a community here, right? Like,
Yeah,
we
yeah.
have people that support us and love us already, and so it was cool to go out and like see how my stuff resonated with other people, and people seemed to be into it.
Yeah.
So it was cool.
Awesome.
I think that same promoter, like market person, is also doing one on the East Coast.
They
in
are.
the Shawshank Redemption
Yes,
prison.
they are
and
this
all.
year.
So I'm like, that also sounds so cool.
Yeah.
Like,
We actually, me and my brother talked about going out there, but we're gonna be out of town for another thing that he's doing, so we couldn't make it. But I would love to go out there and see that. That'd
Yeah.
be rad. Yeah.
So, with out of state and just jumping out of that comfort zone, I want to talk a little bit about that. Like, what was that like night before nerves kind of feeling? Because you're in a whole new zone. You're whole new people, everything. Kind of a little anxious, a little nervous about
Definitely a little anxious. Not just because you're like around this community of like, I don't know, like tough biker dudes, but like,
Hey
I
man,
was-
I grew up with a bunch of biker dudes and everything. They're not that tough.
They're
They're
not
all
that tough.
they're all softies.
They're all
They're
teddy
sweethearts.
bears.
Yeah, they're all teddy bears.
I was definitely nervous just like about like the vibe of the show, you know, and like how people are going to be receptive. I was like, am I spending this time and this money and all this to come and just not sell anything? Like, I think that's any market,
Yeah.
honestly, though,
Mhm.
you know. But then to go and just like feel seen and supported was really cool. And I feel like my stuff resonated well due to, they had some really obviously incredible like sign painters at that show too, which was cool. Actually, one of them traded me one of his like really well done pieces of art for one of my pieces of art, and I felt really like special about it. I was like, thanks, dude. That's cool. I'll do an art trade with you. And then a lot of my stuff is also like inspired by like traditional tattooing as well.
Yeah.
My color palettes and just obviously the roses and whatnot. And so it was cool to just see other people like with the same vibe, appreciating what I'm out here pulling on my brain.
Does it give you confidence to try something in another state or another location, or try pushing yourself a little further?
I definitely would. And a lot of people even here in our community always say like, I think your stuff would kill it like in LA or Denver or all these other states, you know, where, I mean, none of my stuff is like obviously grotesque. I don't find any of my stuff to be pornographic, but there's obviously anatomy and nudes.
Yeah.
And so being in Utah, like sometimes like I'm like, you know,
Get a
you
little
gotta,
pushback,
you got to figure
yeah.
out what market
Yeah.
to get. You got to
Mhm.
figure out your people. You know? But it would be interesting to go and experience those other places and kind of see. Like I've had people tell me I should do. Is it Renegade?
That sounds familiar.
It does.
That they do out. I think they do that out in LA, maybe in another state. But yeah, I would love to definitely do more out of state things.
Yeah, there's a veteran stadium in Long
Mhm.
Beach, California, that it's a
Okay.
biker swap meet kind of thing.
Cool.
There's a like a mix. So I know it because like we did Schwinn bikes, and so I would,
Okay.
it's like I've got a Schwinn Stingray that I like built from a pile of dirt. Same kind of story.
Rad.
Like
yeah.
I wanted a bike with a banana seat, and so my godfather had one, and kind of just built it up from there. But
Killer.
like that whole scene and everything like that, they had like vintage bikes, but also all kinds of motorcycles, and
Yeah.
like we'd find all kinds of motorcycle parts for our off-road stuff, and a lot more like Harley stuff and everything. But like
Rad.
grew up with Harley riders. My family's in a couple different Harley like kind of groups, I guess you could
Groups.
say. Yeah, groups. And a couple other things like that. But some of them are just like Christmas drives and like Santa. Like I had one of my uncles, like he looks so rough and tumble on the outside, rides a Harley. I think he's been in like 3 crazy wrecks and everything.
Dang.
But like he dressed up for Santa for the neighborhood every year kind of thing.
Rad. Yeah.
And like, so it's like, I love those kind of like, it feels a little like, oh man, these people might not be my people. And then you're
Yeah. Oh, these guys are cool.
They're cool.
Yeah.
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 With your like process of everything, like how do you manage going, hey, I'm gonna make these pieces enough, like what do you feel is enough for a show for you, and like managing your time to kind of create that?
To determine that. I honestly never know how many pieces I'm gonna end up making. I always try to have like 30 pieces
Okay.
for a show. But a lot of those are like multiples, right?
Mhm.
Like I'll say I'm gonna do 6 skulls with nudes in their eyes. I'm gonna do 2 roses. I'm gonna do 4 or 6 to boob pads, you know, and just kind of figure that out. And my process is with a lot of that is I've created either based off the original I made, or I'll create a blueprint that I use that's already a wood cutout, so I can essentially trace those pieces out and then just, so I'm going to do 6 skulls. Okay, I'm going to trace 6 of them out. I'm going to cut them all out at once, you know, and just get them done.
Mm-hmm.
And then the process of figuring out like pretty much all of the nudes in my skull's eyes are all based off of something in a magazine. Like it's already a pose of a 1950s model, you know? So then I'll flip through my magazines, figure out like, you know, what the vibe is, what like positions, stylizations I like, and then I'll just go from there and just build on that. But I always try to have at least 30 pieces, in hopes that obviously a couple of them will resonate with someone.
So I asked that because you said you have a full-time job as well.
Yes.
How do you manage your time creating with full-time job and also being part of the shop as well,
Yeah.
and then having a kid and all that stuff, and being able to like balance that to create 4 shows that you're like coming up on?
Yeah. A lot of it's just in the wintertime I don't do anything because I just bedrock because I'm sad. I need the sun. But it like currently, like right now with the weather getting nice and stuff, you know, I'll literally come home. I get off about 4. I'll come home, and by 5 o'clock I'll just be out in the carport and just go to town for a couple hours and just get things done. And then Saturdays are a big art day for me.
Yeah.
You know, it's like
Unless there's
Jacqueline,
a show or something.
Yeah, unless there's a show, like, or unless Jacqueline needs help, or, you know, there's some furniture to pick up from an estate sale or whatever. But yeah, it's mostly just like after work, and I have to convince myself a lot of the times when I get home, like, don't sit down.
Yeah.
Don't go lay in your bed.
Yeah.
Get a cold beer, go outside. And it usually works.
Yeah, I mean that is a tough thing, is for most of us it's just getting started.
Yeah, it is 100%.
Yeah, and if you get in that comfort, I like, there are days where I'm like, you know what, I'm just gonna sit, like I have to kind of thing. But like a lot of times I'm like, okay, I gotta go downstairs, I gotta do something, I gotta make something, I gotta, like, if I'm gonna sit, I try to like grab my iPad and like scribble something kind of thing. Yeah. But I mean, it's also easy to just turn that TV on sometimes. You're like,
it is.
I missed that show.
Yeah. Yep. Well, and that's the fun thing. Like, I try to get at least all the things cut out of wood at once, and then I can come in. I can either go into my studio. I have a little 1950. Is that the 56? Yeah, 1956 Shasta trailer that I've just converted into my studio. So I'll either go in there, turn music on, and just paint and start getting all those things like brought to life, or I'll go in the house and sit at the dining room table and hang out with the girls and just like watch a movie too. Yeah. So there is like that nice little reward of being like, okay, I got all this done, so now we can go sit down and take it easy. But I think that's the biggest thing. And once you like get that fire lit under your ass, I think the inspiration comes too, and the motivation comes. And so it really is just like talking yourself out of like sitting down when you get home and just do it.
If you had a piece of advice, if that wasn't that advice there, to get someone like started and drive and like build and be creative, because we talk about it's nerve-wracking, it is like anxiety inducing, it is a lot to put yourself in a position of like, hey, are people gonna like my stuff, are people gonna want to buy my thing? Like, what is your piece of advice to get people like that might be on that edge to get started?
I think the biggest piece of advice I can give you is do it for yourself, and do it because it makes you happy. And then if you start hoarding too many art pieces or whatever, if you want to try a market, then go for it. And like, honestly, like out of all the markets I've been to and the markets we've held at Copperhive, and there's so many things that happen in Salt Lake in our community. I see so many different like forms of like creativity and like creative outlet
Expression and
that like you're going to resonate with someone. And so just do it. Just go for it.
Yeah. I can attest to that, where we make stuff that we want to wear. We make stuff that we want to like put stickers on our bottles, and like we draw things that we want to create, because the funny part about it is like there's other people like us
100%.
and they find us somehow.
Yep.
It's so crazy. Like, and then you have this like weird connection, like, oh, hey, you've got my sticker on there. Like, I did that for me and you also like it.
And you
And,
love it.
like, yeah.
I was actually just driving down the I-15. I was getting off at the 1300 South exit in Salt Lake, and there was a small like gray car in front of me, and my eyes focused, and they had one of my 3 I Betty Boop stickers on their back of their car.
Oh my god!
And I was like, oh, I wish someone was here to like take a picture because I'm driving. But I was so stoked to like see it out like in the wild. It was so cool. I was just like, man, I love that.
Yeah,
you know?
it was we were at a skate
Derby.
Yeah, derby. I was like, where are we at?
You're wearing your derby shirt.
Yeah, I'm wearing our derby shirt, but we had someone. You're like, oh my god, it's you guys, and we're like, what do you mean it's you
Us
guys?
too, like,
Yeah.
what do we do?
It's like, yeah. We got like, they're like, oh no, what? We're sorry. Like, we have your shirt. I'm like,
Oh,
this is great. Like, both me and Chrissy, like the whole night, we're like, that's so crazy. Like,
so
Yeah.
cool.
someone bought our shirt.
Yeah.
It's like we see people buy our shirts all the time, but
Yeah.
like to actually see
Just
someone,
see it in the wild.
yeah, we're like, oh my
And like
god.
wearing it. And
Yeah.
like,
Yeah, no, that's rad. I feel like that with Jacqueline all the time. I tell Jacqueline she's like the mayor of Salt Lake City, because like no matter where we go, somebody knows her.
Yeah.
And I love it.
Yeah.
Like it's because she's a big sweetheart and she's awesome. But it's just so funny. Like it doesn't matter where we're at. Like we could be at Wingco. Like you know, we could just run into somebody all the time, and it's fun.
Well, that is, I do not want to like sell yourself short on that, because you are very important and crucial to that whole community as well,
Well, thank
because
you.
of both of your guys, the pillars you guys have put up and everything for that community. Like, I'm not saying Jacqueline couldn't have done it by herself,
No, for
or
sure.
you couldn't have done it by yourself, but the
Yeah.
two of you have been able to create something very special and like important to this little art community that we are Salt Lake kind of thing.
Thank you.
And so it is very cool. And that's why I wanted to make sure we gave you an honest hour of
Yeah.
time to
Thank
really
you.
talk about everything you're doing. With that all said, because you have so many different like experiences in the community and kind of stuff, we hit a little bit about people kind of seeing your stuff at shows. And what is one of like your funnest experience that you've gotten from a customer or someone just walking by at a show
Yeah.
when they see your stuff that like really sticks with you?
Yeah. There's so many, honestly. It's so fun. I feel like people obviously love the taboo pads. Like they get the most just like giggles, and it's just so fun to see like why people are buying them. Like a lot of people are like, dude, my brother's gonna love this, you know? Or like my sister just got like married, and like her like wife is gonna love it. You know what I mean? Like it's
Yeah.
just so fun to like kind of hear like where these things are being gifted or they're going. And the same thing with the skulls. Like a lot of people from like, you know, an aisle away when they're shopping in a market, they'll see the skulls and they're like, oh, those are cool. And then it's so funny to see how it takes people like 20 seconds to be in my booth to realize like, oh, like there's boobs and butts in these eyes of these skulls. Like it's,
I will say I had the same experience actually. I can
Uh-huh.
like, we were across the way from you at Crafts and Drafts,
okay.
and
yeah.
I can see your skulls. I'm like, oh, cool, wood cut out skulls and everything. And then I walked out and I'm like, oh, okay,
All right.
boobs.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
have done some male anatomy in the skull eyes too. They're not as popular, but but yeah, those things are fun. Like it's fun to see people's reactions, and I love to hear like why someone's buying a piece from me too, like
Yeah.
or where they're gonna hang it. Like I have a couple people have bought stuff that are like, this is perfect bathroom art. Like I'm gonna hang this in my bathroom.
Yeah,
And I'm like, perfect. I love that.
Yeah.
Like,
I can see some of your pieces being like
Yeah.
cool bathroom art kind of thing.
yeah. So
Yeah. Well, because we like, I was gonna say your grandma's art that we
Yeah,
have
I was
up in
gonna
the
say we
bathroom.
have a nude up in my bathroom right now, actually, that came from my grandma's house, and I was thinking, I was like, maybe we get one of his wood pieces to put on the wall, like right next to it, 'cause, like in a corner wall.
yeah.
But yeah, no, it's like these like wood nymphs. She had this whole series, and they were like above the bathtub in her bathroom, and so when we'd like stay at grandma's house and like take a bath in the bathtub,
Yeah.
we'd be like these like, I mean, they're very tasteful, they're beautiful. It's like these hand painted like watercolor style wood nymphs with like, you know, other curves and everything. They're really beautiful.
Incredible.
But yeah, no, when my grandma passed, I was like, I want one of those. And
I
I'm going to
need
put
one
it
of
in
those.
my bathroom in my house
Yeah.
because that's like core memories.
That's tradition. You got to keep carrying it on.
Exactly.
That's incredible. I did want to say one thing about Jacqueline Copperhive, but specifically StickerCon,
Okay.
Mhm.
because she told the story about how she came with StickerCon, but I feel like she sold herself short.
Okay.
Uh-huh.
And I think the story's really, really fun. So Jacqueline left. I think she was in LA. She went to go see her best friend that's out there. And she was like, I think we had just done a market. We were talking about like what markets like we could do. And so she left. And then when she was coming home, she had called me and we were like chatting a little bit. And she was like, hey, I have a couple ideas for some markets I want to run by you when I come home. And I was like, sick, I got an idea too. And so then she came home and we were laying in bed together that night. And she was like, okay, so like I want to do a market based around local artists that do stickers. But she's like, I don't have a name for it. And I was like, StickerCon, bro. I was like, I've literally had the same idea while you were gone, and it should be called StickerCon. And that's how it was born.
You
I
guys
love
are
it.
like vibing like
Yep.
through
Yeah.
like distance, like
Yeah.
in each other's heads, kind
Hundreds of
thing.
miles away.
Yeah.
So I just thought it was so funny that we both like had that like concept and idea in our head, and then like we came together as a team and figured it out. So
I love
So
it.
you deserve all the credit for the name. Then.
yeah.
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 That's what
That's
this
the
is
point of
coming
the
out
story.
to.
Yeah.
That's the point
But
of
then
the story.
she took the name and like look at all the marketing. It's like beautiful. It's so cute. Like, and that's what Jacqueline does. Like, if I ever have a good idea, she will make it look like the coolest, cutest, funnest thing to attend.
Yeah.
Like, she's killer.
I will say I know Jacqueline on the episode was talking. You guys are doing kind of blind judging to like for the upcoming stuff because you get so many people
Yeah.
attending. But if I can bribe you so that we have a booth at StickerCon
At
this year,
StickerCon.
like, just let me know and everything. Because
We-
we are so
Save it
super
for when after the cameras are
Oh,
done
sorry.
rolling.
Yeah. Come on,
evidence.
come on,
God
come on,
damn
come
it,
on,
my
come on.
bad. Sorry.
Dude.
Yeah,
Sorry,
there's
come
a
on.
rookie mistake there. We're really looking forward to the Friendship Market
Yes.
and celebrating
Yeah.
10 years with
10
you guys.
years.
That is super awesome. That is great success and everything to see that small business thriving and really building this whole community that we
It's all
really
Jacqueline's
love being a
fault.
part of.
It truly is. I'm just the muscle. I'm a guy that will come sit on the register on Saturdays, but like she is the one that has the eye. She's the one that's out there every day hunting down cool treasures and keeping that nostalgia and that secondhand around. Like it really is her fault. And I'm so proud of her for it. It's so cool. And to be celebrating 10 years is
It's
honestly
big.
wild to me.
Yeah.
It's huge.
It's it's incredible. And we have just really garnished such a beautiful community in Salt Lake over those. I mean, we've been doing it for I guess 13, but as a brick and mortar for 10 years.
Yeah.
And it's just been so great. And I hope people come out and get to be part of that community, join the community, and come celebrate. It's going to be awesome.
April 27th, guys.
Yep.
Yes.
April 27th.
Come hang out.
I'm honored that like you guys even thought about having us like for your previous show and like accepted us when we applied and said, yeah, come be part of this kind of thing because it is a cool community to be part of and a super like grateful to be accepted into that whole
Yeah,
community.
well, we're grateful you guys are there.
I want to make sure people can see what you're doing, all the different Instagram handles that you want to
Yes.
throw out. Copperhive's also there, like everything.
Yes.
But if you can let everyone know the different handles and where they can find you out on
Yeah, for
online
sure.
and everything real quick.
Yeah. So like I said, I got a lot. So my personal, which I do post a lot of my personal collection of vintage antiques, smut and art is I Am the Ugly. My art account where I post all of the wood cutouts, stickers, and other things that I decide to create is Trailer Park Liberace. Look up how to spell Liberace because it's weird.
We'll have it all in the description as well.
Bolo ties, and other like, I don't know, random jewelry-ish things would be Lasso Daddy Wears.
Yeah, go check out some of those cool pieces. It's been a while, but there's still cool
Yeah.
pieces to go check out and everything for sure.
Well, and like, I don't know about you guys, and maybe this is like weird to say, but like I find myself doom scrolling my own like creative accounts sometimes. And then I like get inspired to like do that again. So I really would love to bring some bolo ties back in 2025. And then for vintage smut, obviously that's appropriate to be online, is Pervtown USA. So
Love it.
Love it. Logan, thank you again for coming down, having the
Yeah,
conversation.
Thanks for having me.
It's been fun, but our time
Okay.
is coming to an end.
Cool.
But I do want to thank you coming down, having this conversation.
Yeah.
Guys, if there are any local artists to the Salt Lake or Greater Salt Lake community that you know, and send them our way. Have them reach out. We love having conversations. We will love being part of the community and like sharing their stories and what drives them. And hold on, I forgot. I had one more thing about like, was there anything you're working on that's new and that's coming out that you potentially want to share before we sign off? I was like, wait, I had something before I was going to do that. So
yeah. Honestly, inspiration hasn't hit too much. I do have a couple things that I've painted out that I'm looking forward to actually creating and putting on wood. On Trailer Park Liberace right now, my most current post is a new painting I did in February. And I'm looking to turn that into stickers, but I'm also looking to turn that into a wood cutout. It's a heart with candle eyes. So there's melting wax tears. And I really want to figure out a way to hang some of those tears that are falling off of his cheeks to kind of give it like a little 3D little motion.
Yeah.
So, but I want to do stickers too. So that currently is about it.
Okay. I want to make sure we got that last little bit in,
thank
but
you.
guys, go check out what Logan is doing. Thanks again for joining us on this episode. Like, comment, subscribe, do all the things you're supposed to do, help support. We'll be the 27th at the Friendship Market at Copperhive Vintage. We'll be at Mountain West Cider the 26th, and we'll be we're right now currently in Mill Creek Common for Craft Lake City Maker's Mart. But we'll see you guys on the next episode. Thanks again. Bye.
Bye.